What is happening, everybody? What is happening? I'm actually doing a dual live. I'm actually going to go live on Instagram on my phone and on my laptop. I'm going to go live on my YouTube channel because I was trying to put my content up on YouTube a bit more again, but just wanting to get this out quick. So it's late basically, and so I'm going to do a a dual live stream. So we're just going to give a recap of today's action. First of all, what a fantastic day's racing again. Probably swayed a bit by the fact that we had two absolute belting winners. We'll kick on with the first race though. This was the 2 mile handicap hurdle. Went the way of the Tony Martin trained, um, put a pound in the jar, given absolute cracking right by Sean Bowen, getting up late at odds of 17-2. Battle of Ridgeway for local trainer Martin Hassett was yeah, it looked like he'd done everything right and was beating a half a length back in second at odds, massive odds of 50-1. Then we went to 2 mile handicap chase, and this went the way of another UK trainer, John Joe O'Neill. Richie McLernan, who actually, I know Richie, actually one of the stand up guys in the weigh room. Great to see him coming back home and riding one of those big winners on a big day in those very, very familiar JP McManus colours. Then we went to the Latouche, again, a spectacle of a race that for anyone that's involved in horse racing just gets the bug of watching this race down through the years. I tipped up Bustleton in the race for Joseph O'Brien, and that duly obliged us, beating Desert Moor House by 3 parts for Lent back in second. 7-1 for Bustleton. JJ Slevin, it meant a lot to them. And it was actually, I think, Joseph's first ever runner in the race. Um, Also, that horse owned by a great bunch of lads too. I didn't actually realise at the time, but one of the one a pal of mine there from the racing there, Ben McCarthy. So fair play to the lads involved in that. Then we went to the handicap hurdle over 2 miles 7, and I went the way of the Nicky Henderson trained Jericho de Repene. This time the other Bowen brother James getting in on the act with Dottie the Grey back in second at 14-1. Then we went to the Mayor's Novice hurdle over 2 miles, and called Slow Sunshine, a horse that I struggled to pronounce last night, but I gave a favourable mention to her last night, and she was available at 40-1 all morning. SP to 33. She won impressively by 3.5 lengths. As I said, I seen her win in Tours. I really liked her attitude. I thought she was very gritty, determined, and I said that day that the winning margin didn't explain the full story, and that she's a very likable attitude. Great to see her like go and do something like that, and great to get another big price winner on the week. We went to the grade one on the novice chase, and that went the way of Marsburg. Absolutely hacked up 14 lengths, and with the antics of his jumping, it was all the more impressive. It'll be interesting what he does next year. He needs to get a bit of his act together, but he obviously he's quirky, but all these very talented ones are, and yeah. JP McManus, Mark Walsh, they can do no wrong at the minute. Great to see it. Then we went to the stairs hurdle. I said Teopold would win. He did win 5-4, but he was 7-4 last night. I thought it was a big price about this lad. Last year's winner getting the job done for Gordon Elliott, who's had a frustrating end to the chum season. But look, the man is a maestro and he will bounce back. He still came away with a grade one winner at Punchestown Festival, and he's not done with yet. Sam Ewing, one of the top riders, finds of the last year or two, and he's definitely, if he stays sound, is going to go places in this game. Sam Ewing. Final race in the card then went the way of the Alan King trained Rob James ridden Baron Noor at 12-1. That was a bumper. Our selection very disappointing Golden Mountains, and El Carrios was back in second. It was a 1-2 for the English trainer. They've had a host of winners this week, the English trainers. So it's great to see him coming over and getting a few winners, and especially in them handicaps and decent races. We need that. We need the camaraderie. We need the competition, really. So it's great to see it. We hopefully won't have any more winners, but that'll bring us to tomorrow as well. Today's action now, as you're watching this, and that is going to be the champion hurdle, is going to be the feature race. Look, we're going to get it over started. The first two races, first race is a Hunter's Chase. I'm not going to preview it, and the second one is the Champion Hunter's Chase. I'm not going to preview that one either. I'm going to kick straight on to Amir's Grade 2 Chase over 2.5 miles. Very short one here. Dino Blue 4-7. Willie Mullins, Mark Walsh, JP McManus. First three in the betting here, I think will fight out to finish. Dino Blue, Brides Hill, and Laurie Devassi. Would have been interesting what Laurie Devassi would have done if she stayed up. Um, I would have given she could be anything as shout, but there's only six runners, so I'm not going to put her into the each way. Look, I think Dino Blue holds them all, obviously on form, and that it's not a race I'm going to have a bet in. I just think Dino Blue will win, but I wouldn't be surprised with the cheek pieces on for the first time with Bryce Hill. She'll run a cracker, and Laura Devassi, she could do anything either. She's very, very talented. So, look, I'm going to leave that race alone for betting purposes, but we're going to kick to the first handicap chase I'm going to preview for the 4 or 5, is it 4? 2.5 mile, 20 runners declared the listed handicap chase. I'm going to give you two here. Pat DeRoe, you know I'm a big fan of this lad. Pat DeRoe, I think there's a big one in him. He was fourth the last day in Fairy House, but he got hampered a bit, and I was very sweet in this lad in Cheltenham. And like in that day in Cheltenham, I had selected. I think we had an 80 to 1 place. We had a 25 to 1 place, and I was waiting on this lad for an each way look 15 to be placed for big money from small money. And he look the start I think hampered him that day. And there was an interesting statistic that came out after I was showing one of my friends Brian about it. I was actually showing him that the fastest furlong of the festival went away at Pat Rowe. So that's very interesting. So I think this lad, look, he's in off top weight now. He's very much like he's not there. He's not hidden. Like there's no hiding place with him anymore. But I do think there's a big one in him. Gavin Cromwell and Keith Donoghue, two the shrewdest in the game. But I think this lad has an engine in him. I still think he's a little bit better than these handicappers. He just takes things to pan right, but he will run an incredible race. I think if he's up there and gets off the rhythm, I think he'll be thereabouts at 12 to 1. I'm willing to take a chance with him each way. The other one I think I'm very sweet on each way is Zentia for Willie Mullins. This time, Alan Kelly, who rides some of JP's, claims a valuable 5 off it, so brings it back down to 11.4. This, I think, is a bit of class in the race. This 6-year-old filly. She was actually she came out on debut and won a juvenile grade 3 hurdle. Very much a talking one that day, but to come out in a juvenile grade 3. Now she was heavily back that day. Then she went to the Triumph in Cheltenham and was third, beating only 2.5 lengths behind Lossiemouth in the Triumph. Then she went to Aintree and won a grade 1 juvenile, the 4-year-old juvenile hurdle at Aintree, and was placed in a grade 2 after. She kind of lost her way a little bit. Well, there's not that many races in between, but she came out in first start over fences in Ballinrobe. I was actually in Ballinrobe the same day, and she was beaten by she was ridden by a jockey that retired today, Jody McGarvey. And just want to say, I know Jody personally, and best of luck with your future. Great to see you going out in your terms. A 4-time Grade 1 winning jockey and just an all-around stand-up guy. So well done, Jody. And no doubt whatever you turn your hand to, probably a bit of singing or whatnot, you'll definitely be successful. But anyway, yeah, she was beaten on debut on over fences at odds on above in Ballinrobe, and then was pulled up in a grade 2. But Paul, obviously, she wasn't right that day. She then came out in Fairy House and she won beginner's chase by 2.5 lengths, beating Karina de Blazy, one of Willie's that I actually like as well. And she beat her by 2.5 lengths, and then was third in Fairy House. Win support at treason to 15 to 8. She didn't run to herself, but she wasn't. She missed one or two, and I just think that coming back in here into handicap company, Alan Kelly was a very capable rider, taking 5 off her back, so she's only in off 11.4. Yeah, I think Zentia will run a cracking race at 8 to 1 each way. So those are my two in race 4, Pat the Rowe and Zentia. Then we're going to kick straight to the first grade 1 of the day. This is the champion novice hurdle over 2.5 miles. Yeah, and look, Final Demand for me was one of my naps at the meeting. He ran under par, I thought, third behind the New Lion. I thought going to Cheltenham that the novice hurdles, I thought this lad was stronger than Copac de Bow. Copac de Bow won and this lad was third. But I just think what he done in Dublin he was so impressive to me. And I think if this lad can get out in a rhythm, I think we'll see a proper performance here from Final Demand. But the one that's going to run well at a price, I think, with 9 running in 3 places, Mr. Percy, 16 to 1. He's still overpriced for me. Joseph O'Brien, JJ Slevin, they were on fire yesterday or today, whatever time you're watching this. And I think that they continue here, Mr. Percy. I actually done a challenge for Racing TV, and the first challenge was pick your horse for the season. And Mr. Percy was my horse for the National Hunt season. I see him below in Limerick winning a maiden hurdle. Now, bear in mind, this lad won a maiden on the flat below in Gorn the back end of last year, beating Winter Fog. And Winter Fog has won, or not won, but has been placed in like 4 or 5 grade ones consecutively this year, which is absolutely outstanding. She won a flat below, maiden below, as I said, in Gorn, and then won a maiden hurdle, 17 runner maiden hurdle in Limerick. I was so impressed with him that day. Was second in a grade 3 in Navan, the bar 1 novice hurdle behind Blue Devassi. And then we didn't get his true run in a handicap hurdle and finished around the middle of the pack. But came out then, that was back in December, but came out then in April in Fairy House. And I was actually in Fairy House the same day, and wasn't even thought of in the market. Went out to 16 to 1 again, 16 to 1, and beat Floor in the Park. Floor in the Park came out and was third the other day in that grade 1 novices hurdle behind Yasmin DeVoe, beating 6.5 lengths. I think Mr. Percy here still is not getting the recognition it deserves, and at 16 to 1 is definitely going to get a vote for me each way. As I said, I tipped him to be my National Hunt horse of the follow for the season, and he's been second at 8 to 1, and he's won at 16 to 1 with only 3 runs since I previewed that. So I'm very happy with my return on him for my National Hunt horse to follow for the year. So Mr. Percy each way, and I think Final Demand, if he comes back to the form that we've seen him at the DRF, I think he'll take the beating. But yeah, I'm just going to stick with Mr. Percy each way, being honest with you. Then we're going to go to the Champion Hurdle, the feature race. And this is the race we waiting for all week. Over before the Champion Hurdle in Cheltenham, I never mentioned Stateman, and he's a horse I tipped up at the festival at Cheltenham, like when he won his first year winning there at a price. I've been sweetening him. I actually overlooked him going into Cheltenham until I was in Cheltenham, and I was lucky to be in Cheltenham that day, and the vibes. And after Lossy out won the Mayors, I was like, we backed him over there, and look, he looked like he had the Champion Hurdle in his bag. Now I know Constitution Hill fell, but he was just from the get-go, he just looked like he was backed himself. He got that spark, and you could see by him coming to the last, he was full of running. Paul obviously felt that underneath him, and he just and we all seen what happened. And look, 9 times out of 10, 9.9 times out of 10, he pops that, and he's super impressive winner of Champion Hurdle, and all of a sudden he's odds on, and then Constitution Hill is 5 to 6. But it is interesting. I think one of the two of these will win, and whatever horse wins will be value, and whatever doesn't won't be. I'm going to go with Stateman. I just think I know he fell, but I just think from the get-go, even before Constitution Hill fell, and obviously the feeling that he gave Paul going to the last, it had to be electric. I just think I think he's backed himself. Yeah, so Stefan, for me, I think you get the better of the two. The one that'll run all right, though, is Carrigeese, 9 to 1. Now, obviously, you only have 6 runners, so you're not going to, the each way is only the 1-2. But, she was so impressive in Cheltenham winning there. Michael's just coming in there. I was just mentioning Carrigeese, each way value. Yeah, if there was 3 places, definitely. I'm just talking about here now. Carrigeese, yeah. If there was 3 places, or even betting without, maybe. See what you get without Stateman. Constitution Hill, look, he's to back up after them 2 falls, and he popped over fences. Look, maybe I'm no trainer, but I'd rather school more of a hurdle. Maybe they're just putting him over fences to give him a bit more respect for his jumping. But I would rather see him pop a hurdle than a fence. No, I think coming back to our type of hurdles would be better for him, maybe. And it'd be interesting. I'd love to see them all stay up here, and I'd love to see them all turn in with a chance. I just think it'd be great for racing. Stateman, I think, will win. If it's a match bet, I think Stateman will win. But I wouldn't rule Carrigeese out of it either. And if things were to go awry, Danny Mullins is no better man to pick up the pieces, but for me, I think Willie Mullins could have the 1-2 here. Then we're going to go to the penultimate race in the card. This is a novice hurdle over 2 miles, 13 runners declared. Couple of short runs in here. Run Cook for Willie Paul Town, 15 to 8. Nicky Henderson sends over Charisma. You also have Naturally Limited here in for Joseph O'Brien, JJ Slevin. But the one I'm going to go for each way is a Pádraig Roach runner here. A very shrewd trainer. Didn't lick it off the ground. He got it from his dad, Pádraig Roach. Shin Kwen Nun, number 11, because I'm absolutely after butchering the name of that. Mark Walsh in the saddle, 10 to 1. I think this lad outrun his odds. He's a winner. He's a winner of a point to point impressively, and didn't come out in the Navan bumper back in January. Interesting that he goes here, and I think if anyone's really able to plot one out, is Pádraig Roach, JP McManus, and Mark Walsh. So yeah, I think that gets my vote here in the penultimate race in the card each way. Final race in the card is a bumper, 2 miles 2. It's tricky enough contest here. There is a whole host of men here. Look, I'm not gonna have a bet in the race. The one I find interesting though is the Willie Mullins Jody Townend combination. King Rasco Gray was fourth in the Land Rover at the festival last year. Obviously, we haven't seen him at all, and interesting that comes back in here. Jody Townend, I can't sing her praises enough. In runs in the Gallop in the Shams colour of Audrey Turley, I think that'll run well at a price, but I'm actually going to leave this race alone. So it's an interesting day tomorrow racing wise. Like, there is a couple of races where I've just decided to leave them be. I'm really looking forward to the Champion Hurdle. I just want to see them all stay up and just see what happens. If Constitution Hill comes over and runs them into the ground, it'd be great for racing, I think. If State Man stays up and the two of them and he beats him, I think it's great for racing as well. So either or, I just hope they all get around safely and we just see a proper race here. And it is a proper race. And Carraghe's not out of it yet either. Of course, we're all still not even mentioning the actual Champion Hurdle that stood up. The Ace, what's her name? Something Ace. She could be bang thereabouts as well, but no, I just really looking forward to tomorrow's action. Look, we had a great day today. We had the 7 to 1 winner, we had the 33 to 1 winner that was a 40s all day, and we had 1 or 2 winners in between as well. But look, it's going to be a cracking day's action. Hit the likes, hit the share buttons. I'm going to sign off. It's nearly midnight, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Cheers, guys.